Hi all, welcome to our three-part series on mind-body health through intentional yoga, in partnership with Stephanie Ho, previously with Innergy Corporate Yoga. My name is Wilma Charonis and I'm the founder of Life Stages. I'm excited to have you join this mind-body series where you will ease into the fundamentals of yoga and stretching while learning to tap into your practice to strengthen your mental and general well-being. You will learn how yoga can be a metaphor for life as you slow down and process different movements, lean into uncomfortable positions, and graciously accept where you are in this moment in time, both in the yoga practice and in life. I invite you to do these roughly 15-minute videos at the start or end of your day to help you prep your mindset and help you either gently start or close your day. I also challenge you to do these outside or close to nature, such as in your own backyard, local park, or next to your window. By being intentional about the location of your practice, you can significantly compound the benefits nature, fresh air, and greenery can have on your well-being. For more wellness tips and resources, join our community and education platform, Sanctum, at www.innersanctum.lifestages.us. For more information on Life Stages and upcoming events and projects, check out our homepage at www.lifestages.us. In our first video of the series, Stephanie will lead you through introductory yoga poses in a way that builds both physical and psychological resilience. You will warm up the body and mind through 4 scaffolded sequences that include the following poses: mountain pose, chair pose, forward fold, down dog, child's pose, kneeling plank, low push-up, baby cobra, high plank, upward facing dog, low lunge, kneeling lunge, warrior 1, twisting triangle, and warrior 2. Throughout the sequences, you'll be guided through intentional patience and strength building as Stephanie helps you reframe challenges as growing opportunities. Let's get started on building that physical and mental strength and resilience.
Welcome to today's yoga sequence on building strength and resilience. We'll be learning to do a basic sun salutations flow and a series of standing poses. Some of these poses may be challenging to complete or to hold for an extended period of time. It's through these challenges that we will see our strength and resilience grow in our bodies and our minds. Let's start in mountain pose. Let's start with our feet under our hips and our palms by our sides. Let's gently brace the core by bringing our shoulders over our hips. As you inhale, let the ribcage expand outwards. And with every exhale, we engage the center of the body by pulling the belly in towards the spine. Let's strengthen our connection to the earth. Curl the toes into the mat and dig the balls of the feet and the heels into the ground. Do you feel the earth pushing back up beneath you? Do you notice the heaviness of your limbs, but the lightness of your chest and head? Let's keep this delicate balance as we move into our pose sequence. Pushing the hips back and bringing the knees forwards, let's sink our hips backwards and exhale into chair pose. Keeping the chest lifted with our arms either above the head, in cactus position, at heart center, or resting on the thighs. Feeling more heat build in the thighs and using greater control through the core. As we use this pose to warm the body, it is through this heat that our bodies can move more comfortably through our more challenging poses. Similar to how our bodies move, are there discomforts in the mind that you can gently move through to allow yourself to have more resilience towards challenges in the future? Inhaling as we straighten the body, let's reach the palms above the head, fingertips stretching out long. Exhaling, tip forwards from the hips and move ourselves into forward fold. Hands touch down on the floor and knees soften to bring the chest close to the thighs. Putting some pressure on the palms, let's step our feet back into downward facing dog. Using all 10 fingers to grip the floor beneath us, let's push downwards and away from the center of the body, using the hands and the feet. Soften the knees and lift up high through the tailbone, feeling strong and supported through the length of your entire back. Soften the knees and push the hips back, moving into child's pose. You can rest your forehead on the floor and allow your chest to sink down onto the thighs or the floor beneath you. Child's pose is a resting pose, so if you ever feel like you need to step back from today's practice, you can come back into this position to give yourself some rest. Understanding and honoring your body is an important part of yoga. It requires patience, attention, and a willingness to accept where you are in your journey. Remember that resilience is not the absence of rest, but the will to get up and try again when things get tough. When we face some of our biggest challenges in life, it's important to rest before trying again. Practice giving yourself permission to pause the video and take breaks when you notice your body needs it. This is a great lesson to take with you off the mat. Now, let's move through our flow sequence. I'll first show you our modified flow sequence to warm up the core and shoulders. Let's start by shifting our weight back over the palms of the hands into a kneeling plank, inhaling as we do so. Keeping your arms by your sides, let's bend at the elbows and lower the chest to the floor as we exhale. Hovering an inch off the ground, let's pause to challenge the strength and endurance of our arms. Letting the hips sink down onto the mat, let's press the palms slightly and lift the shoulders and head, looking straight forwards. Let's inhale to engage the mid-back. Here we are in baby cobra pose. Let's push into the palms again and send the hips towards the heels back into child's pose as we exhale. Let's practice that again. Feel free to do the same sequence as I just showed you, or join me to try a more challenging sequence if you feel like your shoulders and core, your heart and mind are up to building your psychological resilience. Let's lift the hips up into down dog. Once again, we'll inhale to draw the shoulders over the wrists into plank. You can join me by keeping your knees off the mat, or go back to the previous sequence in a kneeling plank. Bracing the core and exhaling, let's lower the chest. Take your time coming down. Before touching the ground, keep the chest hovering above the floor for an added challenge. Inhale and lift through the chest, moving into either baby cobra or upward facing dog. If you're an up dog, pressing all the way through the palms and straightening out the arms, shoulders away from the ears as you lift off the thighs. And to finish, let's exhale and push our hips back up into downward facing dog or child's pose. Notice the reliefs in your lower back and shoulders as you flow from a challenging pose to a stretching pose. Consider how our flow sequence today can help you notice this relief and stretch after a sequence of challenges in your own life. Keep considering this as we continue to revisit this sequence throughout our practice today. Let's move through some standing poses. These poses will put more emphasis on creating connection to the ground beneath us and building a solid foundation in our lower body. Lifting the hips back up into downward facing dog if you aren't already there. Let's step the right leg forward in between the hands. Give your foot a little bit of assistance if you're finding it difficult to keep the knees over the ankles. You may need to readjust the position of your foot to get into a safe and comfortable spot. Let's hold here in low lunge for a moment and take a few deep breaths to lower the hips and to lift through the shoulders. You have the option to drop the back knee. Let's send a few deep breaths down the length of the back leg and use this to relax and open our hip flexors. Lifting off the knee again, let's flatten the back foot and inhale up into Warrior One position. This means our front knee is soft, our back heel is pressing down through the mat, and our shoulders and hips are squared up to the front of the mat. Your arms can be lifted above the head, resting at heart center or on the thighs. As with all of our warrior poses, let's focus on creating strength and stability through the lower body as we relax through the upper body. We do this by pushing the feet down and away from each other. Notice what happens to our inner thighs and hips as we do this. While we hold this pose, are you noticing the heat and power build through the legs? Or do your legs feel tired and uncomfortable? Let's take a moment to have some patience and to acknowledge that with each new challenge brings a new opportunity for growth. Bringing our hands to heart center, let's straighten out our front leg while still keeping the knees soft. Gliding the chest over the thighs, let's look towards the right side. Once you're here, you can open the palms and let the bottom hand rest on the outside of your thigh. Your top arm can reach towards the sky or wrap around the lower part of your back. We are here in twisting triangle pose. Lots of things are going on in this pose. First, we're using our legs and core to hold us in this pose. Second, we're expanding through the chest by opening through the arms and shoulders. And third, we are creating tension through the spine as we twist. This pose is great for bringing all of these different elements together. Acknowledge each part of the body and what it brings to each part of the pose. As we continue to press the feet downwards and outwards, let's pull the tailbone backwards and, at the same time, reach the crown of the head forwards. Now, let's focus our breath and our core. With every exhale, let's pull the belly button in towards the spine, creating heat and engagement from the center of the body as we let our energy radiate out through the arms and legs. Continue to hold the pose with intention for a few more breaths. Bringing the hands back to heart center, turn the chest back over the thigh, and then let's soften the front knee and place the hands back on the floor to step back to downward facing dog. At this moment, feel free to stay here in down dog or to push your hips back into child's pose. You do also have the option to repeat the flow sequence that we practiced earlier. If you'd like to flow, the sequence is: inhale to plank, exhale to lower the chest, inhale to baby cobra or up dog, and then exhale into down dog or child's pose. Let's try the other side. Returning to down dog and stepping the left foot forward. We're back in our low lunge position. Just the same as before, let's drop the back knee to the ground if we need that extra bit of support. Feel free to readjust the position of the front leg if you need extra assistance to get into a comfortable spot. As we move to the other side, this is a great opportunity to remind yourself of how imbalances can occur in the body, in the mind, and throughout life. It is important to bring balance to both sides of the body and to move through the journey once again. We'll breathe in deeply to lengthen the front of the leg. We are expanding our range of motion, and we're being patient as we hold here to create space in the body. Let's take the back foot to the ground and move back into Warrior One position. Inhale to lift the chest, and exhale to soften the front knee. Let's check in with our thoughts. Where do you find your thoughts and emotions going? Are you looking forward to experiencing the sequence of poses on this side of the body? Did you find the last sequence difficult to complete? Can we find the middle ground between learning from our past and not being tied down by negative expectations? As we move through our sequence on this side of the body, let's do our best to not let past experiences cloud our judgment of the future, and to let each learning lesson be an opportunity for growth. Bringing our hands to heart center and straightening the front leg, we're moving back into twisting triangle, which can be quite a challenging pose for most people. However, if you move slowly and listen to your body, can you allow your body to enjoy the pose? Even if it doesn't look the same way my own body expresses this pose, feel free to make some modifications of your choice. Remind yourself that your body is unique and that the challenges you face require unique solutions. How can we apply this same idea to some of the challenges you face in your own life? Are there experiences that you go through that require you to think hard about your abilities, your confidence, and your willpower? How can you take the challenging poses you experience today, how you faced them and how you felt, and take that with you with some of the challenges you may find off the mat. As we are holding our pose, let's consider how the pose changes from moment to moment as well. How can we apply this to our own life? Oftentimes, in our practice and in life, we can feel impatient. We have the tendency to feel rushed to reach a certain goal or to have a certain outcome. Do you often feel like you need to run out of a bad or boring situation just so that you can find yourself in a more comfortable or entertaining one? In yoga, it is important to slow down, to give the body time, and to continue your practice even when you may feel tired, stiff, or unmotivated. Changes don't often happen overnight and are a result of prolonged practice. How can we provide ourselves more opportunities to ride out the ebbs and flows of life? As we continue to hold the pose, let's challenge our mental and physical flexibility so that we have the resilience to weather any situation. Let's slowly bring ourselves back to the center and soften the front knee. Let's step back into down dog or child's pose. Feel free to rest or to join me in a flow sequence. Together, let's inhale for plank, exhale to lower the chest, inhaling to baby cobra or up dog, and then exhaling back into down dog or child's pose. This time, let's bring ourselves to a warrior 2 stance. Let's start by stepping the right foot forwards and flattening the back foot so that we turn to one edge of the mat. Just like before in warrior 1, we're softening the front leg and pushing the back foot down through the mat. However, this time we have our shoulders and our hips turned to the side, and that means we are opening through the front of the body and are engaging our muscles through the back. Notice how this allows us to hold an upright and open position. Reflect on how moving with purpose can bring us into a better position in today's practice and in life. How can you move with more intention and purpose, even in the smallest of ways, both on and off the mat? Do you find your legs getting tired after a lengthy practice? Take a moment to give gratitude to your body. Here, you can remind yourself, my body supports me with its strength. I am strong, resilient, and determined. I am grateful for what my body does. Let's turn to the other side. We're just going to pick up our toes and pivot on our heels to turn. Now we are softening through the left leg and straightening out through the right. You should still be facing the same side of the mat, but you're now supported by the other leg. Take a few deep breaths here. Continue to create heat through the back of the body and openness through the front. We are welcoming of all our new challenges as new opportunities. Let's remind ourselves that we're exactly where we need to be. Let's soften both our knees and turn ourselves back to the front of the mat. We're going to bring ourselves back into mountain pose. Feel free to close your eyes as you bring your body back into alignment, just as we started today's practice. Take a moment to listen to your breath and to feel the warmth of your body and the relaxation you may find by bringing your legs into a more stable position. Feel free to shake out your legs or to lift one heel up at a time to release your body from today's practice. Let's take a moment to reflect on how we felt. As we find a greater sense of calm once again, do you also find a sense of release as we came across the poses that may have felt uncomfortable? How did you adapt to your situation? Where did your mind go? Give yourself a moment to reflect on this. Congratulate yourself for making it through the whole way. Acknowledge that your body supports you with its strength, and that it takes resilience, courage, and drive to make it through challenging situations. The next time you practice this sequence, how might you adapt or change your thoughts, your feelings, the way you approach each pose so that you can come deeper into the practice and take on each challenge with more confidence? Feel free to pause the video here and take a few extra moments to reflect before ending our practice. Let's bring our hands to heart center and finish with a few deep breaths together. Let's breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. In through the nose and out. In and out. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.